Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi-Wan Alliance. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Luke, and we're the YouTube channel that offers non-biased opinions from two perspectives. That is someone on the autism spectrum, and that is someone who's not. As always, if you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We bring out new content every week. And what are we doing in today's video?
Very pumped to be reviewing Obi-Wan Kenobi, the limited series.
Awesome. So we've been recapping this as we've been going. The 6 episodes are now finished. Now it's time to give our scores, our verdicts, and the reasons why we gave it those scores. So let's quickly summarize the 6 episodes for those that might need a recap or haven't seen it yet.
So how I would summarize Obi-Wan Kenobi in a non-spoil way is that it's about a man that has gone through a loss of his fellow brethren and community members, and someone that has lost his brother and friend with a dramatic event of the Empire coming to power. And that's the simple storyline of Obi-Wan Kenobi, is getting over your trauma and eventually realizing that you need to fight against your best friend for the greater good. And that's how the storyline comes around, protecting others for and standing up to the oppressors.
Yeah, and so this falls between which movies?
Episode 3 and episode 4, with a 10-year gap from the Revenge of the Sith.
So it follows, Anakin has changed to the dark side. He's killed the younglings, and now the Empire is, with their Grand Inquisitors, taking out any Jedi they can find, or turning them to the dark sides, that they have no competitors, basically. So Obi-Wan has gone into hiding.
A wanted man.
And we know what happens next with the New Hope, which follows, that's maybe like another 10 or 15 years later on down the track. And Leia calls upon Obi-Wan to help her. And this series fills in that gap. We get to find out why she would call on Obi-Wan, how she even knows who the guy is. So it fills in that. And we get a fairly entertaining storyline. What would be a quick summary of events that happen in this story? We get to see Vader. Vader and Obi-Wan are still, Obi-Wan holds on to hope that Vader can return to what he once was and be good. Anakin is now, Vader believes that that's the end. You're not changing me now. I'm evil through and through. But he wants revenge against Obi-Wan for what he has done. He cut off some limbs. He, has forced him to be into this suit and spend years in this chamber, and he seeks revenge. And it's, as you said, it's Obi-Wan redeeming himself and showing that he can still, do what he was once trained to do. And then we have someone that's pure evil that is seeking revenge at all cost. Again, just don't want to get into too many spoilers. Is there anything in that or summary you think that's important for those to know that summarizes what this show is about?
In an epic way, we get to see a new character come into the story that in a clever way, and we'll get into more details if what they should have done with the character and what other possibilities they could have done. But overall, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is a great show. Admit it has faults, and I think it's definitely worth watching if you're a Star Wars fan, and even if you're not, because I think it was, yes, it could have gone for longer, but I think it's definitely worth your attention.
So moving into a verdict, and we'll give some scores here. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Oh, I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Out of 100%, I gave it an 84. I think it fills in the gap very nicely between the Revenge of the Sith and us wanting to know what the character has done, and we finally have seen it. Yes, it didn't go off quite perfectly, but for me, I think I enjoyed what the story writers wanted to tell. Not everyone has liked it, but I think it has been Especially the last two episodes. Episode 6 was amazing, and I just feel like the acting, the cinematography did such a fantastic job. It was simple, and I know a lot of people wanted more, but sometimes you just gotta look within yourself and kind of go, was I entertained and happy? And at least it didn't do anything that failed the franchise, and I think it did what it needed to do. And the way I look at it is that this is more of an anthology series. This is a one of testing the waters, and we're going to get a Vader show, and I think that's epic.
Very good score. I've gone slightly higher. I've gone 86%. For very similar reasons. I really like the simplicity of this show. I don't have the extensive knowledge of Star Wars as others or Jacob has. I've watched the movies, seen some of the spin-offs, but I don't know everything there is to know about Star Wars. So for me, being simple, easy to follow, it's, redemption versus revenge. It's a very simple concept. It fills in a lot of blanks. It doesn't change what happens in the future movies, and it didn't affect what happened in the ones that preceded it. It just tied it in nicely in 6 episodes of entertainment. There was few boring points. There was lots of action. There was really nothing to be disappointed. I think it played it safe, but at the end you felt satisfied and go, yep, a few wise words from Obi-Wan, a few touching moments. It did what it needed to do. It didn't do anything more, and it didn't do anything less. To be critical of it would be, I think, silly, because that means you're expecting them to write some kind of epic story that happened to have never been mentioned before. If a story so epic had happened, wouldn't you think they would have spoke about it in the future movies? They didn't. So you don't want to add in like that, like there was an extra, like, I don't know, Death Star that got blown up, or this main character died, because it wouldn't make sense. So they played it safe and tied in some loose ends, and gave Obi-Wan, I guess, what he deserved. His screen time across the movies aren't that major for someone that is such a light character. So he deserved this show, I think, and Ewan McGregor did such a good job in it. So 86% for me.
Very good scores.
So moving into some spoilers. Before we go to open questions, what was your favourite part of this whole series?
Oh, it has to be episode 6, doesn't it? I just thought that was an epic fight between the two characters, the opposites of how Vader was more aggressive and Obi-Wan got back into the fight with using the boulders. Yes, he probably should have not been able to have that much power, but was still an enjoyable fight, and I think we're definitely going to get a Vader show.
That would be good to see. What was your least favourite, or anything disappointing about this series?
Probably the only disappointing thing is that, yes, Raven was necessary, and it adds that motivation, what was cool in Order 66, that the youngling survived and that she got her redemption arc, but I think they should have added in Darth Maul instead. The more I think about it, that would have been epic, but they chose what they decided. They did what they wanted to do, and that's what we got.
That's where I'd be leading, the Raven character. Not that I dislike the character. I feel like what they did with her was fine, but then they added in something unnecessary. She very easily revealed that she was supposedly good, even though she was so, at the start, she was so adamant she wanted to kill Obi-Wan, to then be like, no, actually, I actually want to kill Anakin, but I'll side with Obi-Wan. I feel like that switch happened a bit too quickly. I understand her motives. Yes, she was important to this series, and I think maybe she should have died as well. There's no need to carry her over. She's not mentioned in anything else Star Wars I can think of, so I think it was fine for her to just simply have died, and that's as far as her storyline went, and she added what she needed to for the series, because there was a few plot conveniences and things that wouldn't add up. I think someone as evil as Darth Vader, why would he spare her life or give her any chance to survive? It doesn't. That's the only thing for me. And there's no need for her to carry on unless they have bigger plans for her in a future series. But I get it. She's a youngling and that was spared by Anakin, and then she wants to take him out for what he did, but she stood no chance. There was, maybe she should have just died. That was fine for me.
Yeah, I think that would have been better.
You got any questions or discussion points you want to bring up?
Was it a shock to you that the Inquisitor came back in Episode 5?
Well,
because it wasn't to me.
You had mentioned to me that it didn't make sense that he had died because
he dies at another period. And
so I guess I wasn't surprised in that, but to be honest, unless I wasn't paying attention, I didn't really realise he was dead until the time you mentioned it. So it may have been, I don't have the same Star Wars knowledge as you. So I'm going to say to your question, no, I wasn't surprised because I didn't really commute that he was dead, to be honest. As you said, you weren't surprised by it. I like that you mentioned about this Darth Maul thing. We had a discussion about this in the previous video. I didn't realise that Darth Maul was... I thought he was dead, but then you mentioned that he comes back in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So I think talking about that with you, it makes sense that would have been cool to bring in, because it would have... Unless it would confuse those that only watch the movies and the live action series, because they would be like, why is Darth Maul here? He died. And then you would then have to watch the Clone Wars to piece together why he doesn't feature in New Hope.
Well, if you watch the Han Solo movie, at the end, Darth Maul is in that in credit scene.
Okay. So I'm guessing maybe they didn't opt for that because maybe he might form part of a future series, because I didn't realise he was dead and came back, and you said it was through hatred. He could bring... is it did Palpatine bring him back to life or something?
No, he just came back to life because of his anger for Obi-Wan to get revenge.
Doesn't really make sense to me.
That's how Sith work.
Yeah, and why does he have such hatred for Obi-Wan? Just because he killed him?
Yeah, he sliced him in the Phantom Menace.
So as a Sith, if you get killed by someone, your hatred for the person that killed you can bring you back to life. Seems quite simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I could understand that Darth Vader could come back to life because his hatred is so built through so many series and movies. You can see he had an absolute hatred for Obi-Wan, but I don't think Darth Maul's hatred was warranted. His hatred is purely the fact that he got killed by this person. It seems a bit vague. It's there's not enough for it for me to believe his hatred there. Not enough to bring you back to life. What other discussion points do you have about this series?
Do you think it's warranted how... I feel like there's two camps with this show. We're on the camp that's positive, but we can admit that there's flaws. But there's people that absolutely hate this show and wanted it to be something completely different. What my question to them is what would you want this show to be like? I don't obviously you can come up with something better, but unless you want to mess with the timeline, this show, even though it's not perfect, it's simple and it makes sense, but I don't really see what else you could have done.
I think anything else risk messing up the timeline, which is not what you wanted to do. And do you... I don't know. I guess some people want to constantly be impressed and wowed, but considering this is a filler, it's like episode 3.5. It can't be too epic because it would mess up too many things. It did what it needed to do. And I think some people need to accept that. The only way I think it could have been wrong is if it was boring, which it was not, or if for some reason they changed the actor and did not bring back Ewan McGregor. Then if I was to watch it, you'd go, why in the hell did they make this? It didn't need to be made because you ended up changing the actor, which they didn't do, so that's fine. That would be my only two reasons how I could see this show of failing, was to have changed the actor or to make it completely boring. You go, why did I waste 6 episodes of this? Which is not the case. I was entertained.
I think it's all about mindset, isn't it? Like, if you have the mindset that this is the only thing that they're going to do, well, it's not. Like, clearly they want to do a Vader show.
I don't see why people can't be happy that there's just, more content. Like, it doesn't hurt to have more things to watch. And even, I guess, Star Wars are now finding a way to turn, something that was a tiny storyline and stretching out to 6 episodes. Not saying this show didn't deserve it, but they could just continually pick out little tiny things and expanding on them just purely to give you something to watch. Doesn't hurt to have something new to watch. If it's entertaining, that's a bonus. They've got the money to do it, so why wouldn't you as a Star Wars fan want more content? Why wouldn't you want a Vader show? Even if it's literally just Vader off, killing and hunting Jedi, and does it add anything to the story? Probably not. But could you be entertained by it? Yes.
Definitely.
So it's like, who doesn't want more stuff? Who wouldn't want, your favourite show to get an extra season or like more content? Like, who doesn't want more content? Like, I think people are too negative. Should be just happy that you're getting content.
Out of all the episodes, I know episode 6 was the most epic, but when we look at like from the book, episode 6 had all the momentum, so I feel like that's why a lot of people like episode 6. But personally, what would be your favourite episode?
I was impressed by 1 because it came out
episode 1.
Yeah, I think it came out the gate, with a good amount of action and thrill, which is good. It didn't take 4 episodes or 3 episodes to get into this show. You could be into it from episode 1. So I'm always a fan of a show where they can get you hooked from episode 1. So I'm going to go off episode 1 because of it got me hooked to continue. Where we look at other series, like for instance, we're watching Halo at the moment. It didn't hook me. So I've continued a little bit, but there's no momentum to make me want to see through it. Where this first episode was enough to go, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish it no matter what.
And would you say the least liked episode, do you agree with everyone else that it was episode 4, the highest episode, just because of the stupid thing that happened with Obi-Wan not even disguising himself and hiding Princess Leia, or you enjoyed that episode?
I enjoyed it. I have no problem with it being short. I thought it, had, lots of big CGI in that episode. It had lots of action. Yes, him hiding in plain sight doesn't add up, but that's fine. That's fine. I think it, to dislike an episode, I wouldn't say it's my least favourite at all.
Which one?
I don't know. I didn't dislike any episode, but if I had to pick one that was probably the least favourite out of them all, maybe like episode 4 or something was maybe my least. Oh wait, that's the one. I don't know. Least favourite. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is episode 4, but I did like it. My only reason why I'm thinking that is, I found it. I was somewhat boring hearing about trying to fix the door and like Leia climbing through the roof. Maybe that was not that interesting to me, and them trying to defend this stronghold, and I didn't care too much about those guys that were helping out Obi-Wan. So
in episode 5.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know about an episode, but that was my least interesting part of the whole series, is those group of people, because they weren't big enough to make an impact, and that they were just extra characters that gave content to the story, but they weren't powerful. They weren't, Obi-Wan was basically saving them opposed to them saving him. So and I don't have a least favourite episode, but that's probably my least favourite part of the show overall.
I definitely think the best aspect of the show is Darth Vader and Obi-Wan when they're together. I think it's definitely up there when they're on screen, and then when it's kind of dealing with, like you said, like fixing doors and stuff like that, it's not as entertaining. And why do you think in their minds they didn't decide to kill Raven? Because I think that would have been the perfect moment for her to die. She tried her best, and you know, unless they're going to make a show about her, but why do we need a show about her?
My only thing I could assume is she wants to feature in future shows.
They want her to.
I don't know if she can get her own show, but I think maybe to feature in something else, or unless they think that that was important, that she had showed humility and decided not to kill Luke, even though she was trying to get revenge against Anakin. I don't think that's that epic. She's supposedly a good person. Why would she kill another little youngling? So that doesn't surprise me. I at no point actually thought she was going to kill Luke. I thought even when she showed up to his home, she was literally going to be like, I'm not here to kill him. Like maybe she was going to like train him or let him know about his dad or something. But then obviously she doesn't do that. But I never thought she was going to kill him. I was surprised when it got to the point where she had to make the decision. I actually thought maybe her motives were good. So yeah, it seemed unnecessary. She could have died. It didn't add anything to it. It's not like we go, oh, it's life changing now. She spared his life. It's like we knew he didn't die. We've seen the future movies, so it could have been removed. It wasn't. It didn't really have an effect at all on the show.
So what do you think is the possibility that we're going to be getting a Darth Vader show with the Palpatine introduction? I would say it's at least 90%.
Don't know about, yeah, I think it's highly likely. We've seen, you know, I'd be very surprised anyone that's watched this show that didn't think Vader was very, very cool to have him in the show. Because if you watch the Star Wars, the episodes, you know, 4, 5, and 6, you're not in it a whole lot. You know, and it's a whole lot of, you know, like strangling people and throwing stuff. Like, he doesn't really have much screen time or him doing a lot. So it'd be cool to see that. Like, we've built up we've had 3 movies leading up to how he goes from being, you know, a prodigy to being, and going to be the one that restore faith to the Force, to actually being, you know, like the most evil thing in the galaxy. So now we maybe need a bit more of him being the most evil thing in the galaxy.
So yeah, I think it's definitely likely that we'll be getting a Vader show. I think it will be like anthology series about different characters, like what they were doing with Rogue One and Han Solo.
Yeah, I think we'll get. I think we'll continue to get extra add-ons to, you know, each different character. And I know people would like to see one about Qui-Gon Jinn, but Liam Neeson's been very adamant that he only wants to do a movie.
Yeah.
So that's probably unlikely to happen.
And a Darth Maul show?
Yeah, so we might get a Darth Maul show. We might just get more. We might even get a show that is a live action telling of maybe a bit more in depth of the Clone Wars or something. I don't know. We might get something. So I think Star Wars content is going to continue to flow out, because even if there's people out there that hate it, it's a money-making machine. So they're going to continue to make more stuff.
Well, thank you for watching. We are the Obi-Thoring Lines with 2 different perspectives. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. And hope you enjoyed the show when you get time to watch it. Bye-bye.